It's too regulated, and it's regulated to protect the banks and the wealthy people. That's the reason why they don't want us buying companies. They limit how much you, I, all of us could invest into these private companies. They don't limit themselves, but they never want to get to a point where the companies at large and at scale are being bought and funded by the people. Because then where are we? If we can't come in with big 50 million, 100 million, multi-billion dollar leverage buyouts and start to consolidate these companies, we're out of business.
Hello, Black America. Hello, Black America.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hello, Black America. We are back for a powerful hour, and I'm gonna need my brothers in here to keep me, and I'm a little upset, but it's coming through in love. We've had a couple weeks of momentum with Black Project 2025. We've had them rallying, but we haven't had the media coverage. We've been looking all over. You know, we got a team here at Hello Black America, so we got a lot of eyes and we're looking, everybody's looking, nothing. And so we're gonna talk about how we are gonna build the black media machine so that things like this move totally forward with massive momentum. Once you have something that goes viral, it's like a train, and that train will eventually slow down. But what we're gonna do as we have all these black media outlets connect, we're gonna move that train is just gonna pick up speed. When they expect it to slow down, okay, that Black Project 2025 thing, that's gonna die down. Give it about 3 months. No, it's bigger. So that's what we're here to solve, okay? Black media, the collective, today. Okay, so get ready. I got super producer, phenomenal co-host Curtis Cheatham to my left. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
Visual engineer, audio mastermind, Meraki to my right. How are you, sir? I want everybody to continue to engage with. Thank you to the community on YouTube. Like, we are very excited. No matter where you are, we always say meet us where you're at. We're everywhere. We're building communities everywhere. We're commenting everywhere. We're seeing people engage everywhere. Continue to let us know your thoughts. We told you from the start, this isn't all about us. The ideas come from the people. The best ideas are gonna come from the people. The reason why some of the issues we are facing today have not been resolved is because we've depended on government or organizations, that may be a little out of touch to move the people forward. It's time for the people to come together and put the ideas in the pot. So, we'll be talking about a couple things over the next hour. What was the delay about? Are we waiting to cover Black Project 2025? Do we not know about it? That's a bigger problem. If it's something big going on for a month and I'm a media company and we haven't known about it, that's a bigger problem. We got some infrastructure corrections to make there. We're gonna talk about what we can do for ourselves, what the black community has deployed in the past. We're gonna talk about how we broaden the conversation concerning the organizations that say they're committed to us. We're gonna go deep on that, see if they're true. And it's gonna be a call to the carpet. So again, it's gonna be in love. I told my brothers, I'm gonna need y'all. Listen, if I sound upset, please pull me back in, because I am upset. I have DM'd dozens and dozens and dozens of people, media outlets, black independent content creators. I'm gonna name some of them in a minute. And I have tagged Anaya, official Black Project 2025, their page. I'm tagging them on the post. I'm getting warnings from the social media platform. Hey, you're doing too much. We limit certain activities when it's too much. That's how much I'm tagging. Bang, bang, bang. Hey, I'm trying to connect, reach out to her. And I can say that the response from my channel, which I didn't reach out from my brother Deshone channel. I have a bigger channel from our other company, auto business, what I'm known for. We got 2 million followers across 4 platforms. So specifically, we went to TikTok and Instagram, started tagging, DMing, everything. And I'm expecting like, man, you know how you do, you just like, you're working, you're doing the work, you're not even thinking about how hard you're going, but I know when I look up in a day or two, all this is going to be like a frenzy we just started with all of these tags. So I came back, 24, 48 hours later, I'm thinking I'm already going to see them like they done reached out to Anaya. They know about they done made a video. I'm thinking this is what I imagine in my mind. And unfortunately, expectation creates disappointment. Amen. And when I didn't see that, Curtis, I got to tell you, man, disappointed, missed opportunity. What do you think?
Well, that's what we would call righteous indignation. You're being, if you're upset at something that is not going well, but it's a good cause or it's a just movement, you have the right, I think, to be a little frustrated that people aren't picking up with this. But this, to me, is symptomatic of a larger issue in the Black community. That's we've fought it for years. We have troubles galvanizing and supporting, getting behind each other. There's a lot of reasons for that. Some of them justified, maybe some of them not. But it's just a reality that we have to overcome. And, the tide has kind of changed now. People are starting to realize that America is really going to just be America. It's going to do what it's done. And if Black people are truly ever going to be free, live as full citizens here in America, we're going to have to do some things that we haven't done before. We're going to have to get comfortable with some things that we haven't been comfortable with before. One of them is supporting each other. Now, specifically, we're talking about Black Project 2025, and we've done a whole show on it. It was a viral movement that it would seem. I mean, it would seem like it's low-hanging fruit, right? That we should just be able to. We got a young lady here who's put out a message, a vision. She's explained it. She's working towards it actively. Why aren't people getting on board and supporting that message, trying to help her push the message out? Are they too micro-focused on just their little piece of the puzzle? Can they not widen their view and see that what supports the broader Black community is what's needed at this point to kind of you talked about the energy, the momentum. And I've spoke about it before. We need people to add their energy to what she's doing to kind of keep it going. I mean, we have to be realistic. There's a difference between if the project Black Project 2025 for whatever reason isn't successful. We can accept that, right? It's not the first time that something has started and for whatever reason it didn't follow through.
Absolutely.
But what we can excuse is why are people not trying to help her move this forward? Is it a bad idea? Do you think are there flaws with it that you think it can't work? Is that the reason why you're not actively supporting it? Do you have your own agenda? There's some of that. There's going to be people that are just focused on whatever it is they're working on, and they can't broaden their horizons enough to see maybe it's time to support this for now. It's a complex and layered situation, as most things are in the Black community. There's nothing that's really straightforward and just black or white, for that matter. It's a complicated issue because we're complicated people with a complicated history here in America. And but I do feel that it's time that we we link up from a black media perspective. We have several people doing great things in the black media space. You have
Thousands of people.
Lots and lots of people. Social media gives a lot of people platforms. We have radio. We have people who have started their own medium corporations. So there's lots of different venues. But what we haven't done is kind of link those together to leverage the strength of all of them together. We're stronger together than we are, alone, right?
Absolutely. That is a powerful point that you and I and all of us here at Hello Black America we've discussed the need for black media and a collective black media voice. That doesn't mean we all talk about the same things.
Right.
Because Roland Martin's going to talk about what he talks about. Lene Vinay is going to talk about what she's going to talk about. Conscious Lee is going to talk about what he's going to talk about. But there needs to be things that when we have something that we all need to deploy at once, a message, a movement, something that can move us forward, we need to be speaking with one voice at that particular point.
You can't shut you can't, I don't even want to say that, but you can't shoot the messenger. You can't silence one voice. If everybody is on one accord, and they're all dealing with it in their own unique ways, right? We're not a monolith. So there are different, one venue may be approaching it from a slightly different point of view. But we should all be able to coalesce around an idea and say, hey, this is an idea that can help free us all and move us forward collectively.
And the bad thing about, see, I'm going to make a couple assumptions, and I'm going to sit up because you got to really show. I think episode 1, we said the days of a lack of accountability is over. You probably thought we was only talking to white people. Gotcha.
Hello, Black America.
Black people who claim to support us. I like the bar that J. Cole said in Secret Recipe with Lil Yachty. Some activists got so rich, they probably wish we stayed oppressed.
Ooh.
See, we gonna find out now who's really about building businesses based on our trauma, which means when our trauma's gone, when we're healed, when we have our nation, when we're rich and prosperous, when we're healthy, when marriages are great, when families are great, when our communities are healthy, you are out of business. So the last thing you would want to do is support something that is going to help black people come out of trauma. And so you're going to have to explain why you're not covering this, because a movement that is about business, a movement that is about unifying, and that's not even like, hey, guys, let's see if we can get this to work. The minute she said it, it started working.
Right.
So it wasn't like, well, let's see if it works before we talk about it. It was like, obviously, if she got thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people to join right from the get-go, this is what Black America wanted.
They saw the value.
They saw the value,
right,
and they moved. What is going on that none of the outlets that claim to be for black progress, for the black come up, don't seem to be covering this? I love to hear that you didn't know about it. Roland Martin, I love you, brother. I love urban media, urban view.
Urban view.
I love, and you told me how much, and look, when I say I love it, because, hey, D, how you love it? You ain't even know the name, because my brother loves it. See, he told me about it. He said, look, you need to get up on it. I've been listening to it for years. So I said, okay, perfect. That sounds like I love him then. So, but the point is, all of these, you imagine, everyone speaking out about Black Project 2025 within the next 48 hours. Roland Martin, Karen Hunter, Conscious Lee, Lene Vinay, Black Millionaires, Charlemagne the God, Breakfast Club separately, because Charlemagne the God has a black movement, the Black Effect, separate and individual. It's totally separate from the Breakfast Club. He has a black movement that iHeart started with him and said, hey, we want to partner with you to bring more black media to the fold. What are you doing, Charlamagne the God? Why are you not covering this? Imagine if you and all of these other people and the other 50 to 100 major voices in black media started talking about Black Project 2025 over the next 24, 48 hours. Now Anaya's dealing with 300,000 people in a group,
Right,
instead of 40, 50,000.
right. Now, I mean, listen, there could be, it could be that she's just inundated with some of the foundational stuff around Black Project 2025. Certainly, there could be legitimate reasons for the slowness of things kind of picking up, but I don't want to make excuses for people anymore. You know, I don't want to be, we need to be accountable. And if something that had this much of a splash to come onto the scene didn't get some sort of reaction, you gotta have to wonder. You gotta have to wonder about where our focus is. And it's funny. We're going to talk about this in just a couple minutes when we come back from our break. But separate and aside from your righteous indignation with the lack of progress around Black Project 2025, I just was sitting around this week thinking about how many organizations supposedly committed to the progress of black people have existed over time. And I did a little research to see all these different groups that, you know, that we know about. Some of them still exist today. And it's kind of in line with your point you just made there, is that you got to start wondering, are these people just benefiting off of our struggle or off our trauma? We're going to get into that. We're going to have to talk about that and get deeper.
Hello, Black America.
Who you know can take these syllables and tie up in a boat. Ancestors made it off the boat. Swear I need my reparations. He been dreaming way too long. The struggle I done made it from. Just because my skin golden tone, you know they think I'm dumb. Grit the wheel and crew the street. Diamonds in my pack for lead. The mentals of a country boy. Hustle like an athlete. Missing sleep. Still hear the screams of the slaves. Let breath from his lips. Blood covering of his face. Yeah. Boxing full of money. Ain't no bank accounts, don't need a loan. Whole school ride clean.
Hello, Black America. Welcome back. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying what we're doing here, make sure the best thing you can do to support us is hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you can stay up to date on our latest content. Now, right back to it here. Just before the break, we were talking about kind of maybe broadening the scope of the conversation. How many black organizations can you think of? I mean, just since going back as far as you can remember, how many black organizations are you aware of that are committed to either the economic, social, justice,
Sure.
any of the moving black people forward in any of those kind of areas? Do you see? How many organizations are you aware of personally?
A lot come to mind. Action Network, that's Al Sharpton's group. It's not called that, something Action.
National
Action Network. You got, People's Organization for Progress. I've heard that. You've got the, we're going, if we go back, now you have to include the religious movements too. You have to include the black church movement. You got to include the black Islamic movement, the Muslim movement. These were all organizations that were primed and positioned at some point, that had influence, that had enough eyes on them and attention, and were garnering people together that they could have did something big. When I think about right now it seems more segmented to me. And I don't know who these people, like you look at a Benjamin Crump. He's his own thing? Is he a part of something larger? I'm seeing, you see the Tamika Mallory's, I forget what her organization is called. I don't know where the person or the personality separates from the organization. It seemed like before the current era we live in, before the social media era, it was much more organization focused in my mind. Maybe I'm just not aware, but now it seems more personality focused, where you have people who have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of followers. I don't know quite. They have the strength and they have the influence of an organization from 50 years ago. So because I'll look at somebody like her and say, you just as powerful as Farrakhan was. Tamika Mallory during the Black Lives Matter movement was just as powerful, in my opinion, influence-wise, as how Farrakhan was back then. She was on the front lines. Everybody knew her, you know. And so when I look, and we could argue who was more influential, but the point is, when you're asking me like how many organizations I've seen that have been kind of perfectly positioned to move things forward, it's been a lot of them.
Well, I'm just looking through some of these names, and clearly they don't include all of them, but I mean, you go even things like the NAACP, of course, it still exists today. The Urban League still exists today. Right. The Rainbow Push out in Chicago. You know, you had the old organization that was started by Marcus Garvey, United Negro Improvement Association. CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality. Then, of course, you had the Southern Leadership Conference. SNCC.
What do these people do?
Well,
I'm sorry.
These were now in
I
the.
ain't trying. Go ahead.
Some of these have now disbanded, but to your point, that's a legitimate question, because if you're, I'm not calling them out specifically, but it's in the name. If your organization is the National Urban League and you are committed to improving the plight of people in urban communities, why do our communities look the same or worse now than they did 40 years ago?
Right.
And if you are an organization that is committed to moving a certain thing forward, and we've seen zero movement, and in some cases we've seen some backwards
You've lost
movement,
people.
right? Then we have to call the question: what is it you're doing? And people are sending them contributions over and over again, years and years. And you got to be, you know, that's kind of.
And does this bother you?
You got to look at them with the side eye.
To the people in these organizations, where we are suggesting that if you have not been able to bear fruit, let's just put it like that, come talk to us. Get in touch. Send an email to team@helloblackамerica.com. Let's talk about this media network. You don't have to pay us a dime. We're trying to help you, because we're sitting here and all we're talking about is the bottom line, which is the results. When I ask a question like, what do these people do? I'm not trying to insult your organization, your history, your work. I know what the Anti-Defamation League does. I see them all the time. The Jewish people know what the Anti-Defamation League, or Green, whatever. This is an organization that can say, y'all see us. We matter. We're moving things forward. You don't want to see us. Sometimes it was a point in time where, you didn't want to see Malcolm and the guys pulling up. Oh God, here you go. And it's like, are people scared to see you pull up? Are people scared to say, hey, listen, you got Al Sharpton's on line 1? Oh, God. Oh, Sharpton. Oh, he about to run us through the ring. People should be afraid. And if they're not afraid, then that means the influence has subsided. People should be afraid, and people will be afraid. See, I'm not going to sit here and talk about what was. We know that this is how it's been. And we'll take examples from this, but the reason why what Curtis is talking about with all these organizations is so important is because we have to hold ourselves accountable to results. We've been too emotionally focused. We've been focused on, hey, we're helping in the community. We deal with battered women who are, how many people you helped this year? We helped 8 people. God bless you. That's not enough relative to the size and scope and magnitude of the problem. So we're not saying that you're not doing anything. What we're saying is that collectively, if you send an email to team at Hello Black America and you say, listen, talk to us about this media network where we can deploy a message in an hour if necessary between an email, a text, a WhatsApp group, a whatever it may be, whatever that line of communication is going to be. When we deploy something, they're scared. I do not want to end up on that daggone. They're all talking about it. How do they even do this? This is how it's going to be. They're going to be looking back and say, man, these people were so unorganized all those decades. And then all of a sudden, you couldn't do anything to a black person without at least 50 black channels talking about it at one time. That's what's coming.
That's what we need.
That's what we need.
And that's what other communities do have. You can't talk bad about certain communities. You can't go against those communities without getting pushback. And the question that comes to mind for me is, what do we all have in common? What do all these groups have in common, right? If you can agree on one or two things that we can all coalesce around, right? We all want black people to be free. Can we at least agree on that one, right? We all want black people to be full, free citizens here in America and be able to live and fully engage in our society. Okay, that's our one thing we can agree on. Now, all these different groups have different tactics, agendas, plans, visions. But what do we agree on? Let's get to that. And if we can agree on that, then maybe we know that, we have A, B, C, and D that we want to accomplish. But for maybe now we just focus on A and B because A and B aligns with your A and B or your C and D. Find the area of the Venn diagram where we interact together, or we intersect together rather, and let's focus on that because what we're doing is everybody's going in their different directions. They're going off. Some people are getting some checks, getting wealthy off of this, benefiting off of our pain, as you put it, off of our trauma. Some people are honestly making an effort, but they just can't get the traction. They can't galvanize the resources to engage with them. So there's a lot of legitimate reasons.
And they don't have ideas. They don't have enough ideas coming into them that they can implement. We're going to be continually giving ideas out. Like here's another one, right? So right now we have, how much time we got in this segment?
We're good.
We good. So Isaac Hayes, my brother, I have watched you for the last few years talk about fan base.
Right.
And you have built a quality product. It's not totally unique, but the structure of how you're pitching it is unique.
Right.
So when I say feature-wise it's not unique, that's what I mean. But the structure in terms of, the algorithm and ownership, that's unique. But it's something that's not sticky. People aren't getting it. So let's change this. So you're in touch with Anaya. You should connect with Anaya and say, look, I want to do something. How many people you got in your group? 30,000. Okay. You tell everybody if they jump on Fanbase right now, get their account. Once they share this with X number of people, I'm going to put a couple shares into a pool. And this is going to be an equity share. And that equity share is going to be for the people, reserved for this many people who help us take this app from where it is now to being, momentum, and now it's becoming what we know social media apps can be. See, if you're going to pitch ownership, then you need a way to sell that to where people are not just necessarily investing up front and buying the shares because you've raised money through Start Engine. But when they buy the shares, it sits there. They don't quite know what the marketing plan is. They don't quite know, all right, I believe in the product, but what are we doing? You need virality in the and I don't mean on social. You need virality in terms of users sharing with each other. You need that network effect is what it's called, to where everyone who has fan base is telling 20, 30, 100 people about fan base. So now your user base is growing into the tens of millions and the hundreds of millions, and you're now a player because all these influencers who are being bastardized right now, including myself. That's why I never monetize views, because it is a recipe to starve yourself. Now they're literally keeping people on these social media apps for hours and hours at a time. Hundreds and millions of hours of watch time these creators have, and they're getting paid $200 and $300 and $500, and they're getting financially raped by these platforms. And not only that, and I'm telling you to protect the integrity of your algorithm, because this is for you, brother, if you receive it in the name of Jesus. You protect the integrity of your algorithm, because what these social media platforms are doing is they grow what they use to grow their social media platform is not what they're doing now. What they use to grow their social media platforms is tell your friends about it, talk to your friends, follow your friends. I can't even see my friends anymore.
Right.
So think about that. From an organic growth perspective, we have literally told our friends about these social media platforms. We have spent years building our followers into the hundreds, and watch this, with 1,000 followers, you can do a good business.
Right.
If you just got 1,000 followers who said, I love you so much, sell me something for $100 a month, and I'll buy it from you. Whatever it may be, you shouldn't need to spend 8 years building a following of 300,000 only to not even be able to talk to those people anymore, because we're going to show those people viral content. We're not going to show them. See, I'm telling you, Isaac Hayes, if I'm telling you all the fallacies of your competition. I've studied this. So when we talk about from a unique perspective, I'm telling you, you can go deep on this if you really just realize that this is what they've done. Watch the algorithm, look at your For You page, look at when you put not interested, I still see girls half dressed. I still see Diddy. I still see Hove. Oh, they're trying to get Hove with this now. Why are you feeding me this? What's this algorithm about? What's the agenda? I've clearly said I'm not interested. So if you protect your algorithm and you give the ownership to the point where people come to your platform, they build their audience is going to see their stuff, and you protect that forever, you can run right past all of them because they've all sold out.
Absolutely.
To viral content.
Well, see, and
that's my rant.
Thank you for that. We want to talk about that a little bit more when we come back, because you were talking a lot of social media stuff, and all right.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead. What's your saying?
I'm a man of a certain age. And this social media stuff, I mean, all right, I got my Facebook, and I'm on a few of those different platforms, but are the generation I'm in or the one before me, are we not able to get them engaged because they don't quite get it? Maybe they don't understand the benefit of this whole social media world and how it really, it's a brave new world for some of these folks, and they're scared to get into it for a lot of reasons. You got people getting scammed, and they're kind of hesitant to get into that. So we want to definitely get into that a little bit when we come back. Mm-hmm. Hello, Black America.
Since 2020, I've been showing people everything car dealers like the one I'm standing in front of don't want you to know about car buying. Things like you don't need a down payment to get a great deal, you don't need to be a great negotiator, and you definitely don't need to spend more than 30 minutes in a car dealership. I spent 14 years in the car business, 5 with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and I just released my new digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. It's already 5-star rated, and I want the entire Hello Black America audience to have a copy at 75% off. So go to carsfromhomebook.com, use promo code HBA as in Hello Black America, and don't forget to send me your success story. If you're enjoying what you're watching, the easiest thing you could do to support us is hit that like button. Let's get back to it.
Welcome back. Hello, Black America. If you want to reach out to us, if you need to get us any information, don't forget to reach out to us. You can email us at info@helloblackамerica.com, and somebody will get that information, and we will respond. We've been talking a little about well, we've been talking about several things, but
Oh,
one
black
is
media.
why the black media hasn't necessarily jumped on. Specifically, we're talking about Black Project 2025, and why haven't we seen the sort of engagement that you would hope that such a well thought out viral movement would have galvanized more people, would have engaged more people, and it gotten more momentum to move forward. We are a little frustrated that we aren't seeing the engagement from the larger, more established black media companies. And what we're talking about is seeing it, how can we connect those? How can we link those black media groups together in a way that supports one another, that supports the vision of one group? Recognizing that maybe this is her time right now. Maybe some people are just protecting their turf, and we've kind of hit on it a little bit. There are people that are maybe in it for maybe not quite the right reasons. So we definitely need to be aware of that. All skin folk ain't kin folk, and we know that. But that's no excuse for us to disengage when we see something that's got real potential to move us forward. We have to get behind it, and that's what we're not seeing enough of. Do you have ideas from your perspective on how we can get people to jump on that, or maybe why they aren't?
I think we, first of all, this is not going to cost you any money. This network we're talking about building, as much money as it's going to make for us, it won't cost you anything initially to be a part of it, and probably never. But I never want to say, depending on what we do, we might have, when we have 500 media outlets collectively, then yes, it may, because I don't want people looking back at this 3 years from now. Deshone, you said it wouldn't cost us anything. Well, now listen, we moving. Right. Now when we go and sit before advertisers, we closing 9-figure advertising deals for all of our groups collectively. See, I want to talk about the message and the money. The money is not being made by content creators, all right? And I can speak your language because, again, my brand in the cars, if I was monetizing views and not selling products or services or building platforms that people could, join, then I would be a broke guy with 2.2 million followers. So I realize the struggle of the influencer or the content creator, and that's why I'm telling you that the best thing you can do for yourself is start to realize that you are already being monetized. You're being monetized by the social media platform itself. So if I can build a platform that people come use and they bring the people, then I sell the advertising. I win. Now, depending on how much I give to my partners, who are the creators who brought who?
They brought the people.
They brought the people. Depending on how much I share with them is going to depend on how long they stay with me or not, how long they continue to use our platform or not, depending on what the alternatives are, how the competition is. See, if all of us are financially raping you guys, then you kind of don't have any, TikTok pays 3 cents per view. YouTube pays 1 cent. Yeah, I'm going to go to TikTok. No, how about we start to understand that your watch time, you alone, Mr. and Mrs. Content Creator, your watch time generated $800,000 in advertising revenue for this social media platform. What's your split?
3 cents. 3 cents per view?
I think we could cut out $2,000 for the content creator. See, I love this because we're in a day where so much is about to change, and all these people who've made all of this money, they're about to be broke and starve, and I love it. See, because these platforms, they have, they've left themselves vulnerable, and they really, I guess they think the people stupid. They say the people ain't never going to figure this out. They're going to continue to let us do this to them. They're not going to collectively do something that's going to harm us, because if they were thinking like that, then they have a, backup plan. The deals we're getting is so bad. That's why when we talk about this network of, all right, so what's the alternative? When you are part of a content creation network and you can actually go before advertisers and meet with them. Hey, Roland Martin, and I use Roland because Roland's big brother. You know, I keep saying, you know, Karen Hunter and Urban View because y'all are the big brothers of all of us. We're all junior media compared to what y'all have done. So, but you guys can't get all the money that you should be getting. Roland, you continually talk about the struggle you have when it comes to getting in the same rooms with your white counterparts or with other people that don't look like you. It's because you don't have no one's scared of you. But if you had 80 other channels and you said, look, guys, hey, hop on the phone with me. Hey, I just had a meeting with such and such. Here's what I want to discuss. I think we need to deploy this because I'm seeing some very unjust things that's affecting all of us, and we need to start talking about this tomorrow. Let's just, and everybody talks about it in the same way. We had in their different ways. See, that message now goes out. Oh, Roland Martin got a network. He doesn't just have a channel. He doesn't just have his people that he's going to, no offense, complain to about what we did to him. But ain't nothing gonna happen. Now he has a network where when we do him wrong, everyone's talking about it.
Right.
And so from the message standpoint, that's what we need. Now let's talk about the money. When you can come into some of these meetings, there are several times a year where advertisers meet with people and they cut big checks. If you come as a collective, if Lene Vinay is there, Consciously is there, God, I see, and the reason why I'm calling out the people who I haven't. Let me be honest, because in a minute, before we end the show, I got to show you all the people I've DM'd who have not gotten back to me. All the people who I've commented, you know, and I got a pretty big channel, haven't gotten back to me. But the reason I'm mentioning them is because y'all are such. I mean, between just the 4 or 5 of them, they're talking to like 3 million people. You should be able to go just y'all 5 collectively, go before advertisers, get a big check for the rest of the year. That's what I'm saying. You're going to the platform. The platform's the new master. The platform's the new master when we can start to really, really move into the media business and those views you're getting and that influence you have, you can really start to cash the checks that people with that type of influence should be cashing.
You said a lot there, brother.
And you know, I've invested. You know, being somebody with a following.
Right.
On, you know, this is something that has bothered me for a very long time about how they treat content creators, not just black. So I do have a lot to say about this. So that's the reason why, like, I'll go on these rants about this, because for the last 2 years, I've been watching them make billions of dollars on content creators and give the content creators crumbs.
How is that different from the model that exists? I mean, overall, you know, you've got big corporations benefiting off the work of people beneath them who work hard, you know, and they make the big, you know, nine-digit salaries, bonuses, et cetera, up at the top. The people who are actually getting the work done have no ownership. They are, you know, they're working well below what the value that they bring to the company.
Some barely surviving.
You know, paycheck to paycheck. That's not a sustainable. Well, it's been working all right for America for these years, but you got to believe that time has got to come. Doesn't it only make sense? Like you talked about the fan base model, and I'm just getting on board with understanding what Isaac Hayes III is doing.
Me too.
As far as, you know, fractional ownership is basically what he's talking about. Is, you know, you investing, you an owner, and you get some sort of percentage share. And that's things that we've talked about as well. That's an outstanding model. We ought to start moving towards that. Why haven't we done that? Why isn't
we're not even starting our businesses correctly yet.
Right.
We're just now understanding shares. So the education there just could be one thing, the education to legitimately launch a business. We are masters of side hustles. We all got an uncle that's been making $2,000 on the side since we known him.
Right.
Keep a side hustle. Do hair on the side. Do nails out of the bedroom. We have side hustles. I sell jerseys and incense and big hustles, small hustles, but we have not turned them into legitimate 7, 8, 9-figure plus businesses. And a few of us who have that vision to get there, I think Isaac Hayes III is one of them, should consider that our people don't understand what it means to own at scale. Our people don't understand what it means to have a fractional share in a company. So I'm not going to be able to pitch our people at large with that. And then that's not how a social media platform grows. You can have your owners, but what's going to lead to that network effect where it turns into 10 million monthly active users, 100 million monthly active users, to where you are now the next major social media platform, but your structure is different. I think you give the people the platform and base the ownership they get on how much they share. How many people did you tell? And that could be for a small period of time. Based on, for this next year, we're doing a campaign where we want to take fan base to the biggest, we want fan base to be the fastest growing social media platform in the world. If you help us do this, you're going to own it. We're going to take some shares, put them into a pool. You have 10 million shares in your company. Take 1 million, take 1%, doesn't matter. But when you have to pitch and sell shares, now you're regulated, which means you can't go as big and broad, Gotcha. So don't go big and broad. You need viral effect, network effect. Get with Anaya, give the people the app and give them the incentive to earn ownership shares by sharing with their friends. So every time I share with you, I have the potential to earn more of the owner pool. So it incentivizes us to grow the app. I could pay you $400 and get 0.5%, but if that's not going to lead to any profit or growth, then I just lost $400. Unfortunately, we have to incentivize for the growth. That's just one opinion.
You know what? And this is kind of a unrelated note, but I just heard yesterday Taylor Swift, right? She just finished her Eras concert tour, right? Billions of dollars she made on this tour, right?
Okay.
She paid out $197 million though to her staff, to the people who work, her crew.
Wow.
197. Now,
incredible.
That's a lot of money. I don't know how big her staff
She's an economy.
is, but that's a lot of good. Those are good bonuses. That's good money, right? But it's showing a mentality of sharing and giving back to the people that led to the success of what she's doing. And why aren't we doing more of that? We as Black America, we've export so much to the world as far as our culture, music, and people are making billions of dollars off of the stuff that we have created and made cool. We've talked about that in the past, exported it in little silos to people throughout the world. And unfortunately, we're not getting the benefit of it. And, we're
not seeing those returns.
We're not seeing the return on that investment. And, there's a lot of barriers. We can talk about it in a historical context. I'd like to get into as we approach this last segment. Is it still this crab in a barrel mentality? Are we so focused on our own success, our own individual success, that we are unable to focus on the collective success of us as a people? You asked an important question when we were putting this together, is what has the Black community deployed as a collective? What have we, and we just talked about some of the things that we've deployed, but it's not as a collective, and it's all outwardly facing. When are we going to be able to turn some of those efforts internally and to make us great as we have shared with everybody else?
Great question.
Let's get into that.
And I want to go real deep on that the last segment because I think what's great about this is we're in the figuring it out stage because what we used to do is stand outside the record label and dance. And what we saw is the record label. We was outside the record label, shucking and jiving, hoping for a deal. And now obviously I'm just, but we can look back and realize that some people, when we look at some of these Jay Jerkin deals that we talked about, they actually, you tap dance. Because TLC, how do we sell this many records and we're broke?
Exactly.
You was tap dancing. Bobby Schmurder on the table. Play the video up. Come on. No, I'm just telling you, we are figuring out that wasn't the way. Now, y'all have been the gateway to the people and to the big money, the big tour money, the big Taylor Swift money you just talked about. Y'all have been the gateway to that. So that's why I didn't know I was tap dancing. I'm thinking I'm just giving y'all this is my passion, this is my creation. I didn't realize that y'all was looking at me like, okay, we could easily make about $300 million off this guy in the next 2. How much does he want? Listen, I ain't signing for no less than $1 million. All right, hold on. All right, we can do that deal right now. But we don't want to take if we give him the $1 million, he gonna think we said yes too fast.
Right.
All right, listen, we can't do $1 million. We could do about 500,000. All right, you got a deal, man. We look back and we like, all right, we ain't going for that no more. And we're in this figuring out stage of how do we now use our influence to just set up the networks to get to that big money that y'all been guarding for all of those years, and we're doing it. And that's where what we're in right now. So I believe over the next year or two, and we're gonna go deeper on this, and this is what we're gonna figure out. You're gonna have independent people who have cracked that code. They say Tory Lanez was one of them. They say, all right, we'll talk about this when we come back.
Hello, Black America. Hello, Black America.
If you're enjoying what you're watching and you want to join this movement, the easiest way to do it is to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell so you never miss a video. Let's get back to it.
Now remember, our dear sister Julianne Malvo mentioned A. Philip Randolph. Man, that was a long time ago. And the cry was jobs and justice. In the March on Washington in 1963, the cry was jobs and justice. In the 20-year anniversary of the March on Washington, the cry was jobs and justice. We are now in 2010. And what is the cry? Jobs and justice. Well, wait a minute. How long are you going to sit around begging white people to do for us what we have the power to do for ourselves?
Okay, guys, all these people I'm about to name, I've DM'd you. We've DM'd you on behalf of Hello Black America, not about us, about Anaya Holloway and about BP 2025. I'm just naming a couple. Dr. Boyce Watkins, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, Jay Bez, my man, Jay Bez. Check your DMs, please. Chris Broussard, you talk. I mean, you use your platform a lot for black issues. Check your comments. African Diaspora News, Troy Terrain Star, PLO Lumumba over in Africa, TC Carson, that's Kyle, living single. I'm hitting everybody. Hakeem Jeffries, I hit twice. I hit his political page and his personal page, and I'm reaching out from my Instagram page that I'm hitting them from has 350,000 followers. So when you DM somebody or comment or follow them, I wasn't following any of these people. I'm about to unfollow you if you don't hit me back, because it's not that I only followed you because I wanted you to see the notification so that we can have the conversation. Some of you got 20,000 followers, and some of you have, 1 million. So when you see the follow come from that channel, you get that notification. Derek from the NAACP, Bakari Sellers, Simone Sanders Townsend, Justin Pearson, you and the two guys in Tennessee,
The congressman.
the
From
two
Tennessee.
congressmen
Yep.
from Tennessee. You guys have all eyes on you for the last 12 months. That doesn't last forever. You're doing work. I'm telling you, like the Lucy McBath, Colin Alred. What I'm saying is, don't let your short-term viral success distract you from doing things that will change, doing things that are the reason God put you there. The reason God put you in these places is so when things like Black Project 2025 take off, you use your influence to make sure that they continue. Lucy McBath, Elon Omar, Cori Bush. These are Congress. I done hit so many black Congress people. Barbara Lee, Maxine Walters, Tish James, Mickey. So you understand, Angela Rye, Native Land Pod. Y'all hit me back. I hit y'all about them. You DM me and said, oh, they could send us a video. I tagged Anaya and Official Black 2025 in the post. So when you hear in my, and I'm not gonna go anymore. I could go for another 2 minutes, and that's only on Instagram. My TikTok page got 1.5 million followers, and I've been hitting people on there. So when you hear this, what'd you call it, Curtis? Like it's not my anger, it's
Righteous indignation.
Thank you. When you hear my righteous indignation, it's because I saw a vision of immediate, like we capitalize on viral success. Any of you who are influencers, I hit our young lady in Texas, Jasmine. Is it Jasmine?
Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, I hit both her pages. And my pages, no offense, are bigger than theirs. So I know either y'all are not seeing it, and if you're not seeing it, what is your infrastructure of your business and the way you run things look like? To the point where if somebody needed to get in touch with you about something important, they can't get in touch with you. I have a pretty sizable business and when it comes to the car world. But if anybody needs to get in touch with me and it's big, there's multiple ways they can eventually get in touch with me, especially if they're of influence. So what is going on? Either if I'm going to assume you didn't see it, and if you didn't see it, if all these people didn't see it and you're not seeing the comments, that's just the DMs, then where are you getting your news? How are you getting what you're reporting on? Because we want to be that. And that's what this offer is when it comes to this totally free network we're going to build, which is and it's going to be a machine. It's literally going to be a machine to where people are scared to do anything, say anything against us because it's going to be viral in 24 hours. So we want to be that, or at least one of those where it's like, hey, sorry, y'all. Hey, we didn't, Curtis, D, we didn't know about it. I'm sorry. If I knew, we would have been covering it. Okay, then. So let us be that line of communication, or at least one of them. You should have multiple, that when something happens, we can tap in, and you need the same thing. Because it might be a message you want to get out, and you're like, dang, man, I can't get nobody to talk about this. Yes, you can. Come to the network. We're going to talk about it. Those who agree are going to cover it, and you'll have a collective voice. So that's opportunity is huge. It's not for everybody. I see about 20% of the people that's going to sit and say, yo, that's what it is. I'm emailing them. What's the email? team@helloblackамerica.com. Emailing them now. Let's start to communicate. And the other, we don't need 100. We're never looking for 100 because we know everybody is not with us. But we are looking for the 20% of people who are going to say, let's do this right now.
Absolutely. Do you have any thoughts about why? I mean, people could, just giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? Why aren't they looking for information? Do they not trust the source? Are they just focused on themselves and their own issues or their own agenda? Or is it something more nefarious in that, we've got a whole indoctrination in our time here in this country, right? There's this whole thing called it's the Willie Lynch syndrome, which is associated back to times of our enslavement, and it was reportedly a speech of a slave owner, an enslaver, who supposedly made this speech on how to keep the black folks separated. It's a variation of the divide and conquer philosophy. And just talked about exasperating people's differences and things like that. So now that the whole Willie Lynch paper or speech has been kind of debunked. It's widely agreed that it was a fictitious work or something. But the first time I heard about it was at the Million Man March. In fact, was the first time I heard somebody speak about the Willie Lynch thing. But what we can focus on, whether or not the speech actually happened or not, what we can be absolutely sure about is even today, we see our people, getting caught up with our differences, with I have a different way of thinking. I have a different way of achieving the goal. I have my own ideas, and that's all great. Yeah, but how does it free us all? And if we can't come up with something that frees us all, then are you really free?
I think I'm over the all.
Well, I'm not saying.
And now listen. And what I say. Why am I so disappointed today? My expectation.
Right.
My expectation was my expectation was all of these people was going to hit me back.
Yeah.
Now, if I would have went and was so bad as if I would have said, all right, even if I get half of them to hit me back, I'd still be disappointed.
Right.
So, but expectation is what creates this disappointment. But we don't have a place. Everyone's not going to do it. And so it's better for us to start talking to the people who are waiting for us. There was a saying, I was in network marketing. I think we all were at some particular point, you're in some type of network, prepaid, legal, Amway, whenever your man call you and be like, hey, I want to talk to you about a business opportunity.
Melaleuca, H.L. Williams.
That's right. We already know. But one of the things that they would teach is look for people who are looking for you.
Right.
And if we focus on looking for people who are looking for us, the fifth, I call it the fifth. It's 1/5, 20%. Now, it could be more, but I know it's no less than that. So by going after the fifth, we get to never be disappointed because out of the 40+ million black people listening in America and the hundreds of millions listening in Africa and the tens of millions listening around the globe, 20% of them are ready to move right now. And I don't mean move out. I mean, what's the plan?
Right.
What's the plan? Okay, we're building this company. All right, I do want to build this. I want to start up. I'm with looking at companies and investing in them and building nations and building things and whatever that plan is going to be, they are with it. They will even fall victim to bad plans because they're so with it.
Yeah.
Those are the ones who, we so with it. We've been disappointed. We done lost money. But the point is, if we start to just speak to the 20%.
Right.
So when you hear me say the fifth, I'm talking to the 20% that are ready to move. The 20% going to see what we do in Africa and going to be like, all right, let's go over there and, build and own, and money coming from the world to fund those companies is how the 80% are going to win. See, the 80% of us that are not the movers, that are not the pioneers, the early adopters, they're the supporters. See, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Right.
So if you see it, look, I'm scared, y'all. I see y'all doing all this stuff. It sounds scary to me. I done seen people get, you done seen what they did to some of our people publicly. So I get it. I'm not asking you to be frontline, but realize y'all, the 80%, are the base. Y'all are the ones who, when you move your money, when 20 million people, when we have a petition that we're about to present before a country within the African government. That petition is going to look like, part of it is going to look like changing the financial structure of the country to allow capital to flow into the country in layers. So it's good. The capital that flows into your nation is going to control who owns the nation. Right. That's why there's a saying, hey, if I control the money of a nation, I control the nation. That's why bankers have done so well in America. So when you allow the money to come in, you lose the control. When we start to discuss this petition, which is allow your citizens to buy first, every business you're going to build here should be, can we raise the money from the citizens first? This just happened in Tory. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. Forgive me. He's over the God. Every time I watch it, I'm Tory, I believe his name is. He basically led a coup in God. Pull up the name of the my fault, because I love this guy. Hold on. I love him, and he just did something that shows exactly the possibilities when you change the financial structure, and I don't think we could do it in America. And I'm going to tell you why. It is too much, it's too regulated, and it's regulated to protect the banks and the wealthy people. That's the reason why they don't want us buying companies. They limit how much all of us could invest into these private companies. They don't limit themselves. But they never want to get to a point where the companies at large and at scale are being bought and funded by the people. Because then where are we? If we can't come in with big 50 million, 100 million, multi-billion-dollar leverage buyouts and start to consolidate these companies, we're out of business. So that's the petition we're making before the African nation. Now, where does that when he looks and says this is a wonderful plan? Do we think we can actually get the diaspora around the world to fund companies? That's when we're going to say we can get about 20% of them. And now we go for the 20, but the 80 will see what the 20 do. Because the 20, when that happens, are getting on planes. Oh, this is what's happening. You mean to tell me I can come into this country? You mean, and it's the regulations are set up for the people to fund everything? Bank second? Then the 20% get on a plane, and
Hello, Black America.
when the 20% get on a plane, the 80% will watch. And the 80% is going to watch what we do. And all we need from the 80% is to know when we launch these companies, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of companies every year, just start to redirect some of your money out of that little stock market that's giving you 7, 8% and start to funnel into these things that are going to give you 100, 10, 1,000x growth like they make. They would never fund companies for 8%. They move big money to 8%. All right, we'll only take 8% if we can get it on $2 billion. But if you're talking about 100,000, oh, we need 100x. That's how they move. And that's why they will not let us in America. It's made for the banks. So that's how when I look at what is it going to take, ownership. Everything that's coming out of my mouth is ownership. We keep hearing ownership, but we're talking about the practical steps. Talk to me about a business I can own. You cannot continually talk about black ownership, but pitch me. Sell me something, because when other races talk about ownership, it's pitches. Multiple pitches. You can invest there. Okay, so the more you talk about black ownership without pitches, you're just talking.
Ownership is important, and we're going to have to change our thinking, our mindset. We bought into a system that hasn't always served us. We have to kind of redefine a system that's going to serve us and move us forward. And ownership is a great place to start. That can change the entire landscape of what we look like now and fill us with the kind of resources that we need to really feel like we are fully engaged citizens here in the U.S. There's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't or haven't come together, but there's certainly far more reasons why we should. And that time is now. It's the time, you always say it, we are the generation. That's the generation that's gonna finally do what our ancestors really prayed about all those generations ago. We had a great time with you. Join us next time. Hello, Black America.